The world is a complicated place. Tensions rise, headlines get louder. Have you ever stopped and wondered, what if the worst happens? What if the unthinkable, a World War III, breaks out? Where would you go? It's a question that sends a shiver down your spine. Your survival instinct is your oldest friend. It kept our ancestors alive through ice ages and dangers. In this modern age, that instinct still whispers in the back of your mind. It's not about being scared, it's about being smart. Think ahead. Imagine the sirens wail, the internet flickers and dies. The familiar hum of your city falls silent, or descends into chaos. Your home, your street, the places you love could become the front line. In that moment, a plan is everything. The difference between panic and purpose. You need to know which direction to turn. Towards the hills, towards the coast, or stay put and fortify what you have. This isn't a movie. It's real-world survival. The first step is knowledge. Let's begin the expedition. When you hear World War, your mind probably jumps to images of bombs falling from the sky. And yes, conventional weapons, nuclear weapons are terrifying and destructive. Major cities, military bases, industrial centers would be primary targets. The devastation would be absolute. Staying far, far away is rule number one. But now the battlefield is everywhere, many weapons are silent. Think invisible attacks. Cyber warfare is a massive threat. A strike could take down power grids, water purification plants, financial systems, communication networks. Suddenly your taps run dry, the lights go out, your money is worthless. It creates chaos like a bomb, but silent and widespread. It turns a modern city into a concrete trap with no resources. Then the slow threat of scarcity. Global conflict shatters supply chains. Ships that bring food, medicine, fuel would stop sailing. Supermarket shelves go bare. Gas stations run dry. Pharmacies have nothing left. A safe place must sustain itself. Own food, own water, own resources. So, what makes a place truly safe? It comes down to a few key principles, the golden rules for any survival sanctuary. The first and most obvious is geographic isolation. The further you are from the world's major powers and their inevitable conflicts, the better. Think of it as social distancing on a global scale. If you are on a remote piece of land, surrounded by thousands of miles of ocean, or impassable mountains, you are simply not worth the fuel it would take to attack you. You become a low-priority target, or better yet, not a target at all. Distance is your first and most powerful shield. The second rule is political neutrality. Some countries have a long, proud history of staying out of other people's fights. They don't join military alliances. They don't have powerful enemies. And they focus on peace and diplomacy. Their neutrality is a political force field, deflecting the drama and danger that will engulf the rest of the world. Third on the list is self-sufficiency. A safe haven must be able to feed its people and provide for its basic needs without relying on imports. This means having abundant fertile land for agriculture, plenty of fresh water sources like rivers, and lakes. A nation that can grow its own food and power its own homes is a nation that can survive a global shutdown. Finally, we look for natural defenses. Mother Nature can provide the best fortress walls. When you think of a fortress, you might picture stone walls and moats. Well, an island is exactly that, but on a massive scale. The ocean is the ultimate moat. It's vast, deep, and difficult to cross, especially when global logistics are in chaos. Invading an island requires a huge naval effort, costly and complicated. Islands far from the mainland are often not worth the trouble. Out of sight, out of mind. That isolation makes them ideal safe retreats. The endless blue is a powerful deterrent, a natural barrier. Not all islands are equal. A small barren rock won't help. The ideal island must be self-sufficient. It needs fresh water, rivers, streams, underground aquifers. It needs fertile soil to grow crops and sustain livestock. Volcanic islands often have rich soil, perfect for agriculture. The island should be a self-contained world, a pocket of civilization, a balance of isolation and habitability. Consider climate. Tropical islands can give year-round growing seasons. You can produce food continuously. The ocean is also a huge food source. Fish, trap, harvest. But beware risks, hurricanes or tsunamis. Good examples: New Zealand, Iceland, remote, resilient, self-reliant. There's an old military saying, "He who holds the high ground has the advantage." In a survival scenario, this is truer than ever. Mountain ranges are nature's great walls. They're honestly incredibly difficult to navigate for large mechanized armies. Tanks can't easily climb steep slopes. Supply lines become stretched thin and vulnerable in narrow mountain passes. This natural ruggedness makes mountainous regions a nightmare for an invading force, but a sanctuary for those who know the terrain. The mountains protect you. They create a formidable barrier that can shield you from conflicts raging in the lowlands below. Life in the mountains also forces a degree of self-reliance that is vital for survival. Communities tucked away in high valleys have often lived for centuries with a degree of independence. They know how to work the land, they know how to find water from mountain springs, they know how to live with the seasons. Their isolation isn't a weakness, it's actually their greatest strength. They're less dependent on the fragile supply chains that cities rely on. When the trucks stop running, the mountain communities will still have their local farms, their stored goods, and the knowledge to forage and hunt in the surrounding wilderness. The high altitude and scattered population also offer protection from other threats. A nuclear attack is far more likely to target a dense population center than a sparsely populated mountain region. A biological attack is far more likely to target a dense population center than a sparsely populated mountain region. The fallout and contaminants would have to travel a long way and would be more dispersed by the time they reached the high peaks. Look at a country like Switzerland. It's really the ultimate example of a mountain fortress. The Swiss have been preparing for the worst for centuries. While remote islands and high mountains are excellent choices, don't overlook the power of the quiet countryside. Vast rural areas can let you hide in plain sight, especially in large, stable countries. Major conflicts tend to focus on strategic targets, cities, industrial hubs, military bases, major ports. An attacker won't waste a multi-million-dollar missile on a small farming town. By being strategically unimportant, rural areas offer passive defense. You survive by being forgotten. The countryside's key advantage is food production. This is where the world's breadbaskets are. When global supply chains collapse, proximity to food matters. Farms, ranches, orchards. The knowledge to grow, preserve, and store food is alive in these communities. While city dwellers fight over the last can, people in the countryside harvest and secure winter food. Rural life builds community and practical skills. Neighbors rely on each other. Fix a generator, dig a well, hunt, mend broken things. Those skills become priceless in a collapse. Communities look out for one another. Social fabric provides mutual support when official help is gone. Now let's get specific. Based on our rules of isolation, neutrality, self-sufficiency, natural defenses, a few countries consistently rise to the top of the list. Let's start our tour down under. Australia is a fascinating case. It's a continent and a country surrounded by water. While it has alliances that could draw it into a conflict, its interior is vast, empty, self-sufficient in food, self-sufficient in energy. Hunkering down in the remote Aussie outback, far from the coastal cities, is a solid strategy for anyone living there. Next, we head to South America and look at Chile. What makes Chile so special is its incredible geography. It's a long, narrow country pinned between the massive Andes Mountains, the cold Pacific Ocean. That makes it incredibly difficult to invade. The southern parts of Chile are sparsely populated, rugged, and rich in natural resources. Chile's unique shape gives it a natural defensive advantage that is hard to beat. Let's cross the Atlantic to Ireland. The Emerald Isle has a long-standing policy of military neutrality. It is not a member of NATO and has a history of staying out of major European conflicts. It's an island, giving it that natural sea barrier. It has a temperate climate and plenty of fertile land for farming. For Europeans looking for a safe spot close to home, Ireland presents a very compelling option. Finally, we have to mention New Zealand again. It's almost purpose-built as a survival sanctuary. It's incredibly remote, thousands of miles from any major power. It's a stable, independent democracy not entangled in major alliances. The country is self-sufficient in food and rapidly developing renewable energy sources. Of all the developed nations, New Zealand probably ticks more boxes for safety and security. It's the gold standard for a modern, developed safe haven. We've toured the globe, from the mountains of Switzerland to the remote islands of New Zealand. These are all incredible options, top-tier sanctuaries in a world gone mad. But they all require you to be there. They require travel, relocation, and starting over in a new land. What if the safest place wasn't a country you had to run to? What if the #1 safest place for World War III was something you could build, right where you are? The ultimate sanctuary, the place you won't believe is #1 on the list, is not a location on a map. It's a state of being, a prepared and resilient household. Think about it. In the initial chaos of a global crisis, travel will be one of the most dangerous things you can do. Roads will be clogged, airports will be shut down, borders will be sealed, trying to get to New Zealand from New York will be nearly impossible. The true first line of defense is your own home and your immediate community. A home that is prepared with a long-term supply of food, a secure source of water, and a way to generate power off-grid becomes your personal fortress. This is the concept of bugging in instead of bugging out. Your home base can be made incredibly resilient. Your preparedness transforms your suburban house or rural homestead into a sanctuary that can outlast the initial phase of any disaster. This is the ultimate secret because it puts the power back in your hands. You are not helpless. Your home, fortified by your foresight, is your #1 safest place. So, we've journeyed across the globe, exploring mountains, islands, and quiet countrysides. We've weighed the pros and cons of different nations, from the neutrality of Switzerland to the isolation of New Zealand. We've uncovered that the threats of a modern war are complex, from cyber attacks to supply chain collapse, but the single most important takeaway: your greatest weapon is not a passport or a plane ticket, it is your mind, it is your preparation. Knowledge is power, and a good plan is your best shield against the unknown. Panic is the enemy. Fear clouds your judgment and leads to bad decisions. The way you defeat fear is with calm, rational preparation. Start small. Build a 72-hour emergency kit for your family, then expand it to a 2-week supply of food and water. Learn a new skill every month. Basic first aid, how to purify water, how to grow a small vegetable garden, how to use a map and compass. Each skill you learn and each can of food you store is another brick in the wall of your personal fortress. This process itself brings peace of mind. Talk to your family and your neighbors. A plan that only you know is not a very good one. Make sure everyone knows what to do in an emergency. Where will you meet if you get separated? Who is responsible for what? Building a small community network is a force multiplier. Your neighbors can provide skills and resources you don't have, and vice versa. Together, you are stronger and more resilient than you could ever be alone. This sense of community is one of the most critical and often overlooked aspects of survival. We are a social species and we survive best in a tribe. In the end, we hope that a conflict like World War III never comes to pass. We must all work for peace. But hope is not a strategy. The wise man and the wise woman hopes for the best but prepares for the worst. Don't let this topic fill you with anxiety. Instead, let it empower you. Let it be the spark that encourages you to be a little more self-reliant, a little more skilled, and a little more prepared, because no matter where you are in the world, your ability to stay calm, think clearly, and act decisively is what will truly keep you safe. Your survival journey starts now. Be ready.